Hello Internet, TheStabbyBrit here. Just before we get started on this video, I'd like to let you all know there's a Discord server called the Stabby server for people who enjoy this channel. It's completely free, so why not join? There's a link in the description. You have nothing to lose except your time, your self-respect, and your sanity. Right, that's that sorted. On with the show. Hello Internet, this is the TheStabbyBrit, and it's not often I get asked by YouTube to make a video, but that's exactly what's happened. So, this video is designed to encourage you all to get out there and vote in the UK election on 8th of June. And I'm going to encourage you all to vote for anyone but the fucking Tories. Because if you vote for the Tories, you are voting to destroy this country. And I'm going to do my best to show you precisely why that is the case. Let's start by talking about the only thing the Conservative Party actually cares about. The economy. This is a graph of average wage growth in the UK for the past 10 years. Now obviously the Conservative Party haven't been in power for the past 10 years, so let's just adjust this table a little bit so it looks a little fairer. There we are, and as you can see, from March 2010 to March 2017, by and large we have had reduction in wages. That big black line, that means zero growth. Look how many years we have been below that line. Yes, in the past few years we appear to have risen above. But look where the graph is going. Once more, we are descending into negative wage growth. And this being an average, it doesn't cover the fact that the poorest people are being hit the hardest, and they, by and large, have never had any wage growth whatsoever since the Tories came to power. And this brings us nicely to the second talking point, benefits. This is the number of families on benefits collecting either child tax credits or working tax credits. And this is thousands of families, by the way. This means that approximately 5 million people are in work claiming working tax credits. This means they are not being paid enough to cover their expenses. The fact that we can be the 5th richest nation in the world, or so I'm told, and yet people working full-time, families working full-time, still cannot afford to survive without government handouts is proof of the catastrophic economic failure of the Conservative Party. And if you vote for them on June the 8th, you are voting for a continuation of this failure. Oh, but it gets better, because apparently around 6,500 NHS nurses have had to resort to using food banks because they are paid so little for their work by the NHS, which, I remind you, is being underfunded by the government. Now, Theresa May refuses to accept that the government is responsible and says that the use of food banks is a complicated issue. No, it's not, Theresa. It's a very simple issue. People resort to food banks when they're not being paid enough. Why are people working in a publicly funded organisation like the NHS not being paid enough for their work? Well, the answer is actually quite simple. Because the Tories fucking despise the NHS and have been deliberately, maliciously underfunding it for years. The Tories will insist they are pumping more money into the NHS, but that's simply a lie. What they're actually doing is pumping money into private medical companies, which are allowed to operate as part of the NHS, pocketing massive profits from the government, but when they fuck up, and they fuck up often, it's the NHS that foots the bill and takes the blame. It is the goal of the Conservative Party to create an American-style private healthcare system, where healthcare becomes a luxury, not a basic human right. And why are they doing this? Because they are funded by private medical companies. And in fact, Jeremy Cunt, the Health Secretary, has a vested interest in these private companies because when he retires, he's been given a nice cushy job to fall back into with these companies. Talk about a fucking conflict of interest. Now, it's true that older people are more likely to vote Conservative than younger people, mainly because the Conservatives tend to hand out nice concessions to old age pensioners. But that stops with Theresa May. Oh no, she's hell-bent that old people must be fucked over as well with her dementia tax. How this works is that you'll be allowed to keep up to £100,000 of your savings should you require care in your old age. That sounds great, doesn't it? Well, there's a few tiny things. First of all, you will have to pay for your care even if you receive it at home, currently you don't, and secondly, the value of your property will be factored in. And most houses are worth quite a bit more than £100,000. This means that even if you stay in your home until your dying day, if you require in-home care, when you die, the Tories will swoop in like the vultures they are, take your home, sell it, pocket the difference, and give your family whatever's left. Now keep in mind that for many families, the house is the only thing they will really have of value to leave to their children. And if all that still isn't enough to convince you, I urge you to go back and look through the list of manifesto promises the Tories have made and broken. They promised not to raise VAT from 17.5%, but what did they do within months of gaining power? VAT went up to 20%. And they will fucking do it again. Don't dupe yourself into believing that the Tories are the party of tax cuts, because they are not. They are the party of tax cuts for the rich and tax hikes for everyone else. If they don't do it directly, they will do it by stealth, like the dementia tax or the bedroom tax, or all the other ways they fuck over the people who are in most need of help in this country. Now, I won't tell you who you should vote for. Personally, I'll be voting Labour, if only for the fact that they actually produced a costed manifesto for this election. Unlike the Tories, who didn't cost a single fucking thing in their manifesto. They just promised the world and hope that you're stupid enough to believe them. You don't have to vote Labour, just make sure you vote for anyone but the fucking Tories. We have the power to decide Britain's future. So let's make sure that we decide Britain will have a future. TheStabbyBrit, signing out.